and I have arrived here at the Holy Land Wildlife Management Area. This area was used as a bombing range back in World War II. And so this whole Everglades area is pockmarked with craters, and it's holy. Today I want to encourage you to get out of the city and go out and see some nature. Go out to some of these wildlife management areas and look at the alligators, look at some birds, watch the fishermen. Get out of the city, get your feet on some dirt, touch some mud, touch some grass, get out in your car, take a coffee, go listen to a podcast, play some tunes. I'm encouraging all of us to get out of the city and go visit a little bit of wildlife. So I'm going to take you to a few of my favorite wildlife management areas like this one. This one just happens to be the closest one to me, so it's the first one I hit. But I punched in some of my favorite wildlife areas in South Florida. I put them in a list and I threw them at AI. And I said, use the traveling salesman heuristic method to calculate the optimal order in which to visit these wildlife management areas. So we're going to visit them in that order. I'm going to go over and take a look at some, well, usually there's gators over here. I'm going to go see if there's any gators or not. But then we're going to head off to our next stop, which is Canal Point. I will see you in Canal Point. All right, Canal Point. Canal Point is a very tiny little town. It's like 300 people population. It's about a 1.5 square mile area. And it sits right here on Lake Okeechobee. If you don't know, Lake Okeechobee is a massive freshwater lake right in the middle of South Florida. It's about 35 miles long and 30 miles across. And it is not technically a wildlife management area, but it is a good bit of nature out here. If you've never been to go see Lake Okeechobee and you live in South Florida, you really owe it to yourself to get out and look at Lake Okeechobee sometime. It is massive. Canal Point's just a quiet little boat ramp of a access point here. And it's a nice place to come and just relax. The Army Corps of Engineers built this levee and maintain it. In fact, they've been reinforcing it all the way around the entire lake. Even from the top of this levee, you can't see the other side of the lake. It's big. It's really big. Hey, Port Mayaca, you found it. We are here in Port Mayaca, which is a pretty neat little place and also not officially a wildlife management area. It's not really a port either, and it's not a town. It's essentially a lock and gateway that allows water traffic to go in and out of Lake Okeechobee and into the Okeechobee Waterway, which you can follow all the way down to the Intracoastal Waterway and the Atlantic Ocean. So this is basically the highway for boats that takes you from the Atlantic Ocean to Lake Okeechobee. And you can go across the lake. There's another waterway over there. The Okeechobee Waterway continues with the Caloosahatchee River, and you can take that all the way over to the Gulf. That's the Gulf of America or the Gulf of Mexico, depending on how you vote. It's nice that we have this indicator now that we can all signal to everybody what our politics are just by what we call a body of water, right? Isn't that convenient? So the bridge here is a pretty spectacular view. Goes quite high and it takes traffic over the top of the waterway. And on the other side, very, very unknown little feature. On the other side in those trees is a nature trail named after, I forget, some Cuban guy who moved here. I don't really know his story, but there is a little nature walk and nature trail. And it's definitely worth visiting, so be sure to check that out. Another little feature of Port Mayaca is this open turning basin has its own resident alligator. So say hello to the alligator down there. Also, a favorite of motorcycles. Yeah, bikes like to come out here to the port dock lock lake. It's a nice place to pull over and just relax and think and light a pipe, have a cigar, rev your engine, all of the above. So that's Port Mayaca. Hope you enjoyed this little stop. Next stop, Dupuy. What's Dupuy, you say? You will see. Well, I made it to Dupuy Management Area and Equestrian Campground. But the gate is locked and you have to have a reservation for camping to get in with a key. Be careful, I don't stand in some fire ants here. So if you make reservations ahead of time, you get a access to the gate to get in and go to the campgrounds. Interesting thing about Dupuy is that 100 years ago, a hurricane came through here and wiped out everyone living along the lake. And right here next to Dupuy, there's a historic site for a mass grave where 1,500 people who died are buried. So that's definitely worth visiting. All right, next stop, J.W. Corbett. Let's go. Well, J.W. Corbett Wildlife Management Area is a very nice place if you want to come and hunt, fish, go camping, go bird watching, bike, hide, ride horses. As you can see, I'm just reading the sign. It's very simple. It's really neat. We're up here on the northern tip. This is the Beeline Highway 710, and we're right on the north tip of it. And this path that you see behind me rides all the way through the park and wanders and meanders and then comes back down on the south end. So you can actually get to this, and this is Seminole Pratt and Whitney Road. So you can get to this in 2 easy ways to access J.W. Corbett. We have tons and tons and tons of videos already on this channel here at Corbett, mostly riding our motorcycles around. So if you're interested in seeing what the inside of this park looks like, just search for Corbett on this channel and you will definitely see more videos than you ever wanted to see. Bring some money. It costs a couple bucks to get in, and there's a little box with envelopes right at the entrance on both sides, north and south side, and put a couple dollars into the envelope. Leave it there. You're good to go for entry. If you want to camp, look it up on the Wildlife Management website and reserve a spot. It's a pretty good website. I've used it, and you get to pick your spot on a map and choose which spot you want and reserve your own spot that way. It's pretty nice. I think that out of all of the wildlife management areas we visited today, Corbett is my favorite. It's got the best camping. It's the most fun to ride through the hard-packed gravel roads. There's probably the most little side trails to wander down and explore. Yeah, I think Corbett's my favorite. All right, next stop is Hungryland. Let's go. Welcome to the Hungryland. So the Hungryland is a management area. It's off of Pratt and Whitney, not Seminole Pratt and Whitney, Pratt and Whitney. Get it right. And it's pretty neat, but it's basically a long channel / canal in the shape of a gigantic long T, miles long T, and there's gravel roads on either side with a little bridge connector every now and then to get you from one side to the other. So these gravel roads are nice to ride up and down on motorcycles, put a boat in this water, go fishing, and there's also campgrounds that you can reserve. Sorry, thought I saw a gator. Maybe. In Florida, you can tell there's an alligator in the water if the water is wet. So this water looks wet, so there are gators in this water. So as far as wildlife areas go, I think this is probably the last one I'm going to show you today. Maybe we'll do more of these in the future. If you folks like it, let me know. Leave a comment. Hungryland. I'm feeling kind of Hungryland. I like it. Not necessarily my favorite, not the most things to do, but it's pretty nice. And I would recommend if you're in this area, come by and check it out at least. Drive around, see what it's all about. It's pretty neat. All right, well, thanks for watching. Don't forget, make sure you are subscribed and turn on notifications, and then that way I will see you in the next video.